The forest was never quiet on Kasara, but tonight it felt wrong. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Tall black trees twisted toward the sky like frozen giants, and the ground shook softly every few seconds, as if something huge walked somewhere far away. Lira knew what those vibrations meant. The hunters were moving. She crouched behind a thick root and pressed her hand against the soil. Another tremor rolled through the earth. Stronger, closer. Her heart thumped so hard, she worried it would give away her hiding place. A few steps behind her, her younger sister Mera whispered, "Lira, do you think they can smell us?" Lira didn't answer right away. She wanted to lie and say no. She wanted to tell Mera they were safe. But that would be a lie, and lies were dangerous on this world. So she only breathed slowly and said, "Stay close to me, no matter what." The sisters were human. The only humans left on this side of the planet. Their colony had been wiped out 3 days ago when the hunters came through the valley like a storm of claws and teeth. No alarms, no warnings, no survivors, except for the two of them. Now, those same creatures were tracking them through the forest, and the sisters knew one thing for certain. Hunters never stopped. They never tired. They never left the scent trail unfollowed. Lira pushed Mera gently. "We move on my signal. Quiet as possible." They stepped carefully over roots and fallen branches. The moon above was pale blue, barely shining through the thick leaves. Their breaths made small puffs in the cold air. Mera kept looking over her shoulder, expecting the creatures to leap out at any moment, and then they heard it, a deep, slow inhale, like something huge was smelling the air. The sisters froze. Another inhale came from the left, then one from the right, then one from behind them. 3 hunters. Lira slowly pulled Mera into a hollow under an old tree. The space was tight, but it hid them well. They crouched, barely daring to breathe, as footsteps approached. Shapes moved through the fog, tall, lean, and terrifyingly graceful. Their bodies were built like armored wolves standing upright, with long jaws and glowing amber eyes. Each step they took made the ground tremble. One of the hunters sniffed the air again. "Humans!" It growled in a low, rumbling voice. Close. Mera's hand shook in Lira's, and Lira squeezed it tight. The hunters spoke in a strange mix of growls and clipped words, but humans had learned how to understand a little of their language. Enough to be afraid. The largest hunter stepped closer to the hiding tree. Its claws scraped across the bark. It lifted its head and sniffed again. Mera felt her breath slipping out in tiny gasps. She tried to stay quiet, but fear was taking control. The hunter's head snapped toward the hollow. Lira reacted instantly. She leaned in close to her sister, her lips almost touching Mera's ear. "Listen to me," she whispered. Her voice steady though her heart was breaking. "If they find us, let them take me." Mera jerked her head back and shook it, eyes wide. But Lira held her in place with a firm grip. "I'm the older one. I'm louder. I'm faster bait. I'm the tastier one to them." The words were so soft that even the wind didn't catch them. But something else did. A single amber eye appeared through the crack in the tree hollow. The hunter had leaned down, listening. It had heard the whisper. Mera's eyes filled with terror. Lira felt her stomach drop. The hunter growled softly, almost amused. "Tastier one." It echoed, rolling the words slowly, as if trying them out. Mera shook her head desperately, but the hunter didn't look at her. It stared at Lira with hungry curiosity. It pushed one huge claw into the hollow, scraping the earth inches from Lira's boot. Lira stayed still. She didn't blink. She didn't breathe. She was afraid that any movement would mean death for both of them. Another hunter stepped forward and spoke. "Take them now." The first one tilted its head. "No, they run first. They hide. Makes the meat sweeter." Mera covered her mouth to stop a sob. The first hunter snarled once, sharp and commanding. Then, to the sisters' shock, the creatures backed away from the tree. Their heavy footsteps faded into fog. Silence returned, but not the safe kind. Lira waited a full minute before she let out a slow breath. "They're playing with us," she whispered. "They want to chase." Mera shook uncontrollably. "Why did you say that?" Why did you call yourself Tastier? I didn't know they were listening, Lira whispered. I thought it would calm you. It didn't. I know. Lira placed her hand on the ground again. The vibrations were still there, steady and strong. The hunters weren't leaving. They were circling, waiting, smiling in the dark. Lira pulled Mera close. We don't have long. They'll push us where they want us to go. Where's that? Mera asked. Lira looked toward the deeper part of the forest, the part the colony had forbidden everyone from entering, the ancient zone. The ruins, Lira said quietly. That's where they're driving us. Mera's voice trembled. Why? Lira wished she knew. She wished she could say something comforting. But the truth was too heavy to hide. Because something in those ruins scares even hunters, she said, and they want us to face it for them. The fog thickened. The trees groaned, and from somewhere far away, a hunter laughed. The sisters moved quickly now, following a narrow path that wound deeper into forbidden forest. Every few minutes, they heard the hunters behind them, low growls, heavy steps, the sound of branches snapping under claws. The hunters were not rushing. They were herding. Lira kept one hand on Mera's wrist, pulling her forward whenever she slowed. She forced her steps to stay calm and steady, even though her chest burned with fear. She needed to be strong. She needed Mera to believe she had a plan, even if she didn't. But they both knew the truth. The hunters weren't chasing to kill. They were chasing to deliver. Fog clung to the ground like cold fingers. Each breath tasted like metal. Strange blue lights flickered far ahead, weaving between the trees. Mera frowned. Are those fireflies? No, Lira whispered. Not fireflies. The lights blinked in a slow pattern. 3 flashes, pause. 2 flashes, pause. Like a message, a warning, or a lure. As they walked, the trees thinned and twisted into strange shapes, like they had melted and reformed centuries ago. The air changed, too. It felt heavy, like a storm building, but with no sky to release it. Mera touched one of the warped trunks. It feels warm. Lira pulled her hand back. Don't touch anything here. But why? Just don't. This place isn't natural. Mera nodded, swallowing hard. The ground soon sloped downward into a deep valley. At the bottom, the fog grew thicker, glowing faintly with blue light. And there, rising from the center like a giant fossil, were the ruins. Huge broken pillars leaned at odd angles. Strange symbols glowed faintly on cracked stone. Parts of the structure sank deep into the earth, while other pieces hovered slightly above the ground, pulsing with blue energy. Mera stared. Who built this? Not humans, Lira said. Not the hunters either. How do you know? Because even the hunters stay away from this place. Mera stepped back instinctively. Then why drive us here? Lira didn't answer. She couldn't. A deep roar echoed behind them. The sisters spun around. 3 hunters stood on the ridge above, their silhouettes tall and sharp against the dim sky. Their amber eyes glowed with hunger. But they did not come down into the valley. They stayed on the high ground, watching carefully, like guards who refused to step inside. One of them growled a single command. Enter. Mera's breath hitched. They're afraid. Yes, Lira whispered. And whatever scares them is waiting for us. The 2 sisters slowly descended into the valley. The blue light swirled around their feet like tiny spirits. Every step felt heavier than the last. The ruins felt alive, breathing, listening, watching. At the very center of the structure, they found an open stone platform. It was carved with strange circular marks. Some lines glowed faintly as they approached. Mera grabbed Lira's arm. We should run. There must be another way out. No paths. No cover. No time, Lira whispered. If we run, the hunters catch us. If we wait, they push us inside anyway. So we just walk into it. Lira nodded tightly. Mera's eyes filled with fear. Lira, I don't want to die. Lira pulled her close. Neither do I. That's why we keep moving. She stepped onto the stone platform first. The marks around the edges lit up instantly. A soft hum filled the air, deep and calm, like a sleeping giant waking up. Mera stepped beside her. The glow grew brighter, flowing around their feet, rising like mist. Suddenly the ground beneath them shifted. Stone panels slid away in smooth circular patterns, revealing a staircase leading underground. Cold air rushed upward, carrying a faint smell like old metal, and something else, something ancient. The sisters exchanged a look. They had no choice. Lira started down the steps, and Mera followed close behind. The stairway spiraled downward, lit by glowing veins in the walls. The deeper they went, the more Lira felt the strange pressure in the air. It pressed against her mind, her chest, her bones. Mera stumbled. "Lira, my head, it hurts." "I know," Lira said, steadying her. "Stay focused. We're almost there." At the bottom of the stairs, they reached a wide underground chamber. The ceiling arched high above, carved with swirling symbols and glowing patterns. In the center of the room sat a massive stone sphere cracked open like an egg. Inside the sphere was a chair, or something like a chair, a seat shaped for something larger than a human, cables wrapped around it like vines. Strange blue liquid floated inside tubes without touching the walls. Mera whispered, What is this?" Before Lira could answer, a voice filled the room. Not spoken, not heard, felt. At last, humans return. Mera froze. "Lira, who said that?" Lyra's breath shook. She didn't know. Blue light flickered inside the broken sphere. Something moved within the shadows. Slow, heavy, waking after a long sleep. The voice came again, deeper and clearer. "You were hunted so you would enter. The hunters fear me, but they serve me." Mera's eyes widened. "Serve you?" A figure emerged from the sphere's opening. Tall, broad, human-shaped but not human. Skin silver like metal. Eyes glowing blue. Movement smooth and ancient. Lira stepped back instinctively. But the being raised one hand, not threateningly. "Do not fear. I am the guardian of Kasara. And you, Lira, you are the one I've been waiting for." Lira felt her blood turn cold. Mera squeezed her hand. "Why you? Why not me?" The guardian's eyes pulsed brighter. "Because she is the tastier one. Not to be eaten, but to be chosen." The guardian stepped fully out of cracked sphere, towering over both sisters. Blue light ran across its body like veins under metal skin. It moved with calm confidence, as if the world itself bowed to its presence. Mera gripped Lyra's arm, so tightly it hurt. "Lira, what does it want? Why would it wait for you?" Lira didn't know. She shook her head once, keeping her eyes on the guardian. "I don't understand," she said, her voice steady but her heart racing. "I don't even know what you are." The guardian lifted its head slightly, as if listening to a distant memory. "I was created in ancient times," the being said, "before your species left Earth, before the hunters ever walked this planet. I was left here to watch, to wait, to choose." "Choose what?" Mera asked. The guardian turned its glowing eyes toward her. "A pilot." Lira blinked. "A what?" "A pilot," it repeated. "One who can connect with the core, the heart of this world's defense. One with a human mind strong enough to hold the power without breaking." Mera shook her head quickly. "Then choose someone else." "Not her." Lira didn't look away from the guardian. "Why me? You don't know anything about me." The guardian stepped closer. Its presence filled the chamber like a rising tide. "I know everything about you," it said softly. "Your colony's last transmissions, your survival, your choices, your courage in the forest, even your whisper." Lyra's muscles tensed. It had heard her whisper? "You said you are the tastier one," the guardian continued. "The hunters took your words literally. They planned to feed on you first." Mera flinched. The guardian continued in a deeper voice. "But I heard something else. I heard sacrifice, strength, responsibility. Those traits are necessary for the core to awake." Lira felt dizzy. "I didn't mean. I was just trying to protect my sister." "Exactly." A deep rumble echoed through the chamber, vibrating the walls. Dust drifted down from the ceiling. "What was that?" Mera whispered. The Guardian turned toward the stairs they had descended. "The hunters," it said calmly. "They cannot enter the valley, but they can break through the upper walls. They want to destroy this place before I choose a pilot." Mera panicked. "So we're trapped?" "No," Lira said quietly. She stepped forward. "What do I have to do? If I say yes..." Mera's head snapped toward her. "Lira, no. We don't even know what this thing will do to you." The Guardian raised its hand. The room shifted. The glowing veins on the walls brightened, and the sphere behind it hummed with low power. "If you accept, you will connect with the core," it explained. "Your mind will join with the systems that protect this world. You will see things humans have never seen, feel things humans were never meant to feel." Mera stared in horror. "And if she refuses?" The Guardian looked at her for a long moment. "Then this world dies." Silence hit the chamber like a hammer. Lira took a slow breath. "Mera, remember the colony? Remember everyone we lost." Mera's eyes filled with tears. "I remember, but losing you too." "I'm not planning to die," Lira said gently. "I'm planning to survive. And if this is the only way, then I have to try." Mera shook her head in fear and anger, but she didn't pull away. Lira turned to the Guardian. "What do I do?" The Guardian stepped aside, revealing the cracked sphere, the chair-like structure waiting inside. "Sit," it said simply. Lira walked slowly toward it, every step heavier than the last. Mera followed helplessly. "Please, Lira, don't do this alone." "Lira!" Squeeze her hand once. "I'm not. You're with me. Always." She stepped inside the sphere. The seat was cold but shaped perfectly for her body. As soon as she sat down, the cables around the chamber began to glow brighter. The sphere closed halfway, forming an oval shell around her. Mera backed up, trembling. "Lira?" The Guardian placed one metallic hand on the shell. She must focus. Lira closed her eyes. A pulse of blue energy shot up the walls. Symbols lit one after another. The hum grew louder. A soft blue mist filled the sphere. Then, Lira gasped. Her vision exploded with light. She saw the forest, the mountains, the sky, like she was floating above the planet. She saw the hunters circling the valley, restless, afraid. She saw something else too, something deep under the surface. A beating heart of blue energy. The core, her mind stretched, reaching toward it. Mera screamed, "Lira, what's happening?" Lira heard her voice, but faintly like from far away. There were too many voices in her head now, too many images, too much information. Her body shook violently. The Guardian spoke calmly. "Breathe, accept the link, or it will break you." Lira grit her teeth. She focused. She held on to the image of Mera's face. Her voice, her laugh, her warmth. Her mind steadied. The Guardian nodded. "Good. The connection holds." Suddenly, the entire chamber shook violently. Rocks crashed from the ceiling. Dust filled the air. Mera stumbled. "What now?" The Guardian turned toward the staircase, its eyes burning bright. "The hunters have called something worse." Lira's voice came from inside the sphere, but it sounded different, stronger, echoing with energy. "What did they call?" The Guardian answered with a single word. "The Devourer." The chamber trembled with a new force. Lira felt it first, deep in her bones, vibrating through her connection with the core. The hunters above were no longer the biggest threat. Something ancient, something massive, was moving toward them. The Guardian's voice cut through the chaos, calm but urgent. "It is called the Devourer, a being older than the hunters. It hungers for the core's energy. If it reaches this place, everything dies." Mera's eyes widened in terror. "Lira, you have to stop it. You're connected to it now. You can..." Lira's mind was spinning. Images, sounds, sensations, all rushing at her at once. The core's pulses beat in time with her own heart. She could feel the Devourer approaching, a ripple of darkness that pushed against the glowing energy of the ruins. She gritted her teeth. I think I can control it," she whispered inside the sphere. Her voice carried a strange echo, powerful and resonant. The Guardian nodded. "You must focus your mind. Do not let fear enter. The core responds to will, not strength. The chamber shook again. Dust rained down. A low roar echoed from above. The devourer had arrived. From the forest, a shadow emerged, massive beyond imagination. Its body was black as void, covered with jagged spikes and glowing red eyes. Each step shattered trees and stone alike. Mera screamed, "Lira, don't let it." A surge of energy shot from the sphere. Lyra's hands lifted slightly without moving her arms. The glowing veins across the chamber flared. A shield of blue energy rose, forming a dome that pushed back the devourer's advance. It hissed, a sound that made the floor tremble beneath Mera's feet. The guardian's metallic frame glowed brighter. "You are doing well. Expand the connection. Merge with the core completely." Lira gritted her teeth and forced her mind outward. She reached toward the core, feeling its heartbeat. She let the energy flow into her. Her vision blurred, and the chamber felt endless, stretching into glowing blue tunnels. She could see every nerve of the planet, every hunter, every leaf in the forest, every pulse of life. And then she felt the devourer. It wasn't just massive. It was clever. It knew where to strike. It lunged with dark, spiked limbs, trying to pierce the dome. Lira felt its hunger, its endless desire to consume energy. Panic hit her mind like a storm, but she forced herself to focus. "Control it," she told herself. "You are the tastier one, not eaten but chosen." The phrase, spoken in thought, triggered a strange clarity. She realized why the guardian called her the tastier one. Not for fear, not for sacrifice, but for her mind, her courage, and her willpower. She pushed the core's energy outward, turning it into a massive wave. It slammed into the devourer like a tidal force, making it roar in rage. Red eyes flashed, spikes shattered, and the shadow recoiled. But it didn't retreat fully. It circled, calculating, waiting for another strike. Mera was trembling behind the dome. "Lira, don't stop." Lyra's mind pushed deeper. She felt the core respond. Symbols lit across the chamber walls, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. She could sense weak points in the devourer's form, spots where energy could pierce its defenses. The guardian raised one metallic hand. "Do not fight it blindly. Let it feed your focus, not your fear." Lira nodded inside her mind. She turned the devourer's attack against itself, guiding the dark energy into spirals, twisting it into a cage of light. Slowly, impossibly, the massive shadow became restrained, pinned by the blue glow of the core. A scream shook the chamber. The devourer arrived but could not escape. It had underestimated the combination of human will and the core's energy. Mera stumbled forward, pressing against the edge of the dome. "You did it, Lira. You're..." Lyra's body trembled inside the sphere. She could feel herself merging deeper with the core. Her mind felt stretched thin, every thought amplified, every fear magnified, but also every memory, every reason she fought, every instinct to protect Mera. The guardian spoke slowly, almost like a whisper. "Now bind it completely. Show the devourer that this world cannot be consumed." Lira focused on one central image, the glowing heart of the core. She imagined wrapping the devourer in that light, forcing its energy to mirror hers, forcing it into stillness. Slowly, painfully, the shadow began to shrink, folding into itself, until it was no more than a ripple of red energy trapped within the blue light. The chamber fell silent. Dust settled. The glowing veins dimmed slightly but remained alive, humming softly. The sphere around Lira retracted. She stepped out, shaking, her mind buzzing but alive. Mera ran to her. "Lira, you're okay." Lira embraced her sister tightly. "I'm okay, but the hunters aren't gone." This was just the beginning. The guardian stood silently behind them. Its eyes glowed softly. "You have done more than survive. You have protected the core. But your journey is not complete. The hunters are still above, and they serve a purpose even greater than the devourer. You must face them and uncover why they hunted you in the first place." Mera's face twisted in fear. "We just barely survived. Now more." Lira nodded slowly, determination hardening in her eyes. "We survive again, and next time we make them regret coming after us." The fog outside the ruins stirred. The hunters were circling still, waiting, but now, for the first time, the sisters had hope, and Lira had power. The power of the core, the power of the Tastier one, and the knowledge that she could face the impossible. A shadow moved at the entrance of the chamber. Lira and Mera froze. 3 glowing amber eyes stared at them through the mist. The hunters had not forgotten. They were ready for the next phase. The 3 hunters waited at the entrance of the chamber, their amber eyes glowing bright against the fog. Even after the Devourer's defeat, they did not retreat. Their muscles coiled, ready to strike, but their movements were cautious. Lira could feel through the core their fear and their calculation. "They're not attacking," Mera whispered, trembling. "Why are they just standing there?" Lyra's mind raced. She could feel the core humming in rhythm with her heartbeat, guiding her thoughts, amplifying her instincts. "They're waiting for something," she said. "Something worse than before." The Guardians stepped forward. "They seek the relic. They have hunted your kind for centuries, not for food, but for control." "Control?" Lira repeated, narrowing her eyes. "What do they want from us?" The Guardian's voice was steady. "The hunters were created by an ancient force to guard this world. But long ago they were corrupted. A faction desires to use humans as conduits to awaken the prime engine beneath the ruins. If they succeed, the planet will become a weapon of unimaginable power. That is why they hunted you in your colony. They were testing for strength and will." Mera swallowed hard. "So they wanted to see if we were strong enough?" "Yes," the Guardian said. "And you, Lira, passed. But strength alone is not enough. Well, courage and sacrifice are required." The amber eyes of the hunters narrowed. They let out low growls that echoed through the ruins. They were intelligent, more than she had realized, and they were patient. They knew the core had been awakened. They knew the Devourer had been contained. And now they were calculating. Lira stepped forward, her connection to the core amplifying her presence. "If you want something, tell me. I'm listening. But I won't let you touch my sister or this planet." The lead hunter tilted its head. Its voice rumbled like distant thunder. "You wield the core, little human, but you are young, naive. You do not understand the forces that shape this world. We will not harm your sister if you comply, but we will take the path you refuse to walk." Mera flinched. "Path? Lira, what does that mean?" Lira shook her head. She felt the core pulse, steadying her mind. "It means we have to fight smart, not just strong." The Guardian nodded. "You have power, but not the experience to use it fully. You must learn their patterns, predict their moves. Only then can you survive the trials ahead." The lead hunter growled again, then leaped backward, vanishing into the fog. 2 others followed, circling the chamber as if testing the boundaries of the core's influence. Lira sensed their movements as vibrations through the floor and air. They were studying her, learning her limits. She whispered to Mera, "We have to anticipate them. If we panic, they win. Watch their movements. Think 1 step ahead. I'll handle the core's power. You handle survival." Mera nodded shakily. I can do that." For the next hour, the chamber became a battlefield of strategy rather than combat. Lira manipulated the core's energy to create barriers, traps, and illusions. She could project images of herself across the room, making it seem as if she were everywhere at once. The hunters lunged at illusions, miscalculating, misstepping, their claws striking nothing but glowing air. Mera moved quietly, dropping stones and creating noise in unexpected spots. She guided the hunters toward traps Lira had set, their frustration audible in low growls. Then came the moment of revelation. As the hunters regrouped near the stairs, Lira felt a sudden surge of energy in the core, an old echo, a memory. Symbols flashed on the walls, revealing hidden markings she hadn't noticed before. The Guardian's voice rang in her mind. "The path to the prime engine lies below. The hunters have tested you to see if your mind is ready to withstand its influence. They seek the engine's activation. You must go first." Lira's stomach dropped. "First? Me? But that's suicide." "No," the Guardian said calmly. "You are chosen. The core will protect you, but only if your will is unbreakable. If you hesitate, they will succeed. Mera grabbed Lyra's arm. I can't let you go alone. You don't have a choice, Lira said softly. But you will guide me. You'll watch, remember, and keep me grounded. That's how we survive. The hunters growled from the shadows, their amber eyes locked on the sisters. They weren't just predators anymore. They were sentinels, guardians of something far older than any human could comprehend. And their patience was terrifying. Lira took a deep breath. She focused on the core, feeling its pulse in her chest. She felt the devourer's echoes still trapped, the energy of the planet coursing through her veins. The core whispered its guidance, showing her way forward, through danger, through fear, and into the depths of the ruins. She looked at Mera. Stay close. Watch me. Trust me. Mera nodded, tears streaking her face. Always. The lead hunter stepped forward once more. Its voice rumbled like stone grinding against stone. Go. Show your strength, human. The core has chosen you, but we will follow. Always. Lira stepped onto the stairs leading deeper beneath the ruins. The chamber's glow pulsed around her. The core's energy surged in rhythm with her heartbeat. She could feel the hunters circling above, waiting, testing, calculating. But now she had a plan. Now she had purpose. And now she understood she was not just surviving. She was leading the fight. The shadows of the ruins stretched long and dark, swallowing the light of the chamber. Ahead, the path to the prime engine awaited. And somewhere in the depths, the ultimate secret of the hunters, their creation, their corruption, and their purpose, was waiting to be revealed. Lira swallowed her fear. Let's find out why they hunted us and end this. Mera followed closely behind. Together, they descended into the unknown. The core pulsed brighter than ever. And the hunters waited, patient as predators, for the moment the sisters would emerge, changed. The stairs seemed endless. Each step brought Lira deeper into the ruins, farther from the foggy forest and the hunters' circling eyes. The air grew heavier, thick with energy, vibrating with a low hum that felt alive. The core pulsed in her chest, guiding her, warning her, whispering secrets only she could understand. Mera stumbled behind her. Lira, this place is alive. Lira nodded without looking back. It is, but it's also listening. Everything down here listens. And not just the core. The hunters, even they can't touch this place unless we let them. The staircase opened into a massive cavern. The walls were carved from stone and crystal, glowing with veins of blue light. The air shimmered, filled with ancient symbols, some moving as if breathing. In the center of the chamber stood a colossal machine, unlike anything Lira had ever seen. It was a prime engine, gears and cables twisted together, pulsing with blue energy. At its heart was a glowing orb, larger than human. It radiated warmth, light, and power that made the hairs on Lira's arms stand on end. Mera gasped. What is that? Lira's eyes widened. It's the source, the core's origin. Everything the hunters have hunted us for, it's here. The guardian appeared behind them, its metallic form moving silently. This is a prime engine. Long ago, it created the hunters. They were designed to protect the planet and maintain balance. But something went wrong. A faction of hunters became corrupted. They now served destruction, not protection. Lira stepped closer to the glowing orb, her mind stretched, trying to understand its energy. She could feel the devourer's echoes still trapped, the hum of the core beneath her, the planet itself thrumming with life. Mera grabbed her hand. Lira, wait! What if it's dangerous? Lira shook her head. I have to try. We can't survive otherwise. Suddenly, the cavern shuddered. The blue light dimmed. From the shadows, a dozen hunters emerged. Their amber eyes gleamed. They circled the chamber, forming a barrier between the sisters and the prime engine. The lead hunter stepped forward. Its voice rolled like thunder. You have come far, human. But this is the test you cannot survive. We created the engine. We corrupted its protectors. And we will claim the power. The core belongs to the strong, not to your kind. Lira felt the core pulse harder in her chest. She focused on the glowing orb, letting its energy flow into her, filling her with warmth, clarity, and courage. You don't understand, she said, her voice echoing through the cavern. I'm not here to take the core. I'm here to protect it. And that means stopping you. The hunters growled, circling faster. They lunged, claws slashing through the glowing mist. But Lira was ready. She raised her hands, and waves of blue energy shot out, forming barriers that deflected their attacks. Mera moved quickly behind the sisters, helping guide the hunters into traps Lira created. Stones floated into their path. Illusions of Lira appeared in multiple spots, confusing the predators. But the lead hunter was clever. It leapt over barriers, striking with precision. Its claws cut through the illusions, landing dangerously close to Mera. Lyra's heart jumped. No, she shouted. She extended her mind fully into the core, reaching out to the prime engine. Energy shot like a river, twisting around the hunter, pushing it back. The cavern shook violently. Dust fell like rain. The remaining hunters faltered, unsure of how to respond to the sudden surge of power. And then the shocking truth revealed itself. The symbols on the cavern walls shifted, forming pictures, images of humans long ago. Lyra's eyes widened. She could see the timeline. Humans arrived on Kasara, interacted with the prime engine and helped shape it. The hunters had not just hunted her colony. They had been testing every human generation. Their corruption had twisted a duty to protect into a mission of terror. The Guardian's voice resonated in the chamber. The hunters were never meant to kill humans. They were meant to choose the worthy. Corruption changed their purpose. Only a human strong enough to merge with the core can restore balance. Lira clenched her fists. Then that's what I'm going to do. I'll restore the balance. I'll stop the hunters, and I'll protect this world. The lead hunter roared, its claws glowing red. It charged, but Lira was ready. She extended the core's energy outward, creating a cage of pure blue light. The hunter slammed into it, struggling, growling in frustration. The other hunters hesitated, sensing their leader trapped. Lira didn't let up. She pushed her energy further, pulling the prime engine's power into herself. She felt every pulse, every beat of the planet, every echo of the core. And then she spoke the words that had begun it all. I am the tastier one, not be eaten, but to choose. The cavern trembled. The blue light flared. The hunters were forced to retreat, overwhelmed by the combined power of the core and Lyra's will. They howled, but the energy held them in check. Mera ran to her side. You did it? You're incredible. Lira nodded, breathing heavily. We're not done yet. This is just the beginning. The hunters, the devourer, everything. We have to finish this. The Guardian floated closer, its eyes bright. Now you understand. The prime engine, the core, the hunters, they are all connected. And you, Lira, are the first human to master this connection. But beware, the final challenge awaits. The corrupted faction is not defeated. The true test of your will and courage is still to come. Mera squeezed her hand. Then we face it together. Lira looked at her sister, determination burning in her eyes. Together, she agreed. Outside, the shadows of the hunters stirred. But for the first time, Lira felt no fear. She held the power of the core, the knowledge of the prime engine, and the courage of someone who had survived impossible odds. The final confrontation was coming. And this time, they would not run. The chamber trembled as the shadows of the corrupted hunters gathered outside the ruins. Lira could feel them, their anticipation, their hunger for the prime engine's power. The core pulsed in her chest, guiding her, warning her. She had come this far, survived impossible odds, and now the final trial awaited. Mera stood beside her, trembling but resolute. We can do this, she whispered. Together. Lira nodded. Together. She extended her hands, summoning the core's energy around them. The light formed a protective dome, pushing back the shadows that had begun to creep into the chamber. The Guardian's words echoed in her mind. Only a human with courage, will, and sacrifice can restore balance. The lead hunter stepped forward from the darkness. Its amber eyes burned with fury. You may have survived the devourer human, but you cannot defeat us all. The core belongs to us. Lyra's mind focused. She could feel the prime engine's heartbeat in sync with hers. Every pulse, every vibration, amplified her strength. She realized now why the Guardian had called her the Tastier one. It was not her body that mattered, not her survival alone. It was her mind, her choices, her willingness to sacrifice for something greater. The other corrupted hunters lunged, claws striking, but Lira was ready. She moved with the core's guidance, deflecting attacks with waves of blue energy. She created illusions of herself, confusing them, splitting their attention. Mera threw obstacles, guiding the hunters into traps, helping Lira control the battlefield. Then the chamber shook violently. The prime engine's orb pulsed faster, brighter. The corrupted faction had tried to bypass Lira's defenses and access the core directly. A surge of dark energy shot toward the orb, threatening to consume it. Lira's hands glowed with blue light. She reached into the surge, holding it back, feeling the darkness try and pull her into itself. Her mind screamed in pain, but she clenched her teeth and focused. I am the Tastier one. I choose. The words echoed across the chamber. The core responded violently, wrapping the corrupted hunters in streams of energy, lifting them off their feet, pinning them to the walls. They howled, struggling, but could not break free. Mera gasped, "Lira, you're amazing." Lira shook her head, slightly. "Not me, the core. We're connected. It listens to courage." The lead hunter roared, forcing itself against the energy barrier. "You think you can stop all of us? The planet belongs to us." Lira's heart beat in sync with the prime engine. She focused on the one truth she had discovered beneath the ruins. The corrupted hunters had once been protectors, servants of the planet. They had been twisted by their hunger for power. If she could reach their minds, she could end the corruption without destroying them. She extended her will, connecting not just the core but to the hunter's consciousness. She felt fear, hunger, confusion. She reached into the lead hunter's mind, whispering the words that had begun everything. "You were made protect, not destroy. Remember who you are." A pause. Silence. The energy around the lead hunter shimmered, then softened. The others followed. Slowly, one by one, the corrupted hunters calmed. The amber glow of their eyes dimmed, replaced by a pale, neutral light. Mera blinked. "Lira, you changed them?" Lira nodded, exhaustion pulling at her limbs. The core amplifies the mind. It can heal as well as destroy, but only if we have the courage to try. The prime engine pulsed, brighter than ever. Symbols on the walls glowed steadily, forming a harmonious rhythm. The planet itself seemed to breathe, alive and balanced once more. The Guardian approached. "You have succeeded, Lira. The hunters are restored. The devourer remains contained. And the core has chosen a worthy protector. Balance is restored." Lira took a deep breath, feeling the core's energy recede into her chest, calm and steady. Mera hugged her tightly. "You did it. You saved everything." Lira smiled faintly, looking at the restored hunters. They bowed their heads slightly, not in fear, but acknowledgement, respect, guardians of a world that humans had almost lost. The Guardian's voice filled the chamber one last time. "You have proven that courage, will, and sacrifice to find the chosen, not strength alone. Your journey is far from over, but the first trial is complete." Lira looked at the stairs leading back to the surface. She had survived betrayal, hunted by monsters, confronted ancient machines, and faced impossible odds. And now, she understood her own power, the weight of responsibility, and the reason why she had been called Tastier. Mera squeezed her hand. "We leave together?" Lira nodded. "Together? Always." They stepped toward the light, leaving the ruins, leaving the core safely guarded, and ascending back to the forest. The fog had lifted, and the first rays of dawn cut through the trees. Birds chirped faintly. The planet felt alive, whole again. Behind them, the hunters remained at the ruins' entrance, vigilant but no longer hostile. They had been restored to their true purpose. Guardians, not predators. Lira looked at the horizon. The world was dangerous, still full of unknown threats. But for the first time, hope felt real. She had faced the impossible, survived, and emerged stronger. And somewhere deep inside, the core pulsed, a reminder that she was chosen, the Tastier one, protector of a world that had once nearly been lost. Together, Lira and Mera disappeared into forest, ready for whatever came next, knowing that courage and love could change even the darkest of fates. The hunters watched silently, a silent vow echoing through the trees. The balance of Kasara would never be broken again. And for Lira, the adventure was only just beginning.